Hey everyone, Mr. Newman here. I'm going to show you guys how to use your TI graphing calculator to find a maximum or a minimum. Now, one thing I need you to do is pause the video right now and grab your graphing calculator. It is a waste of your time and a waste of my time for you to watch this video without your graphing calculator. So grab it right now and practice putting these in. Too many of us did not do that last time I showed one of these videos, and a lot of you guys were confused on how to press the buttons. I want you to press the buttons as you watch this video. Alright, now that you have your graphing calculator, what I want you to do is type in y equals. And you're going to type into the y equals this equation right here, x squared plus x plus 1. Then, when you press graph, you'll get a graph that looks like this on the right. Notice this is a parabola. That means it's a quadratic equation, and it has a minimum where it would be right here. Well, that is not right on a point, so I cannot see exactly what that minimum value is. So I'm going to show you guys how to use the calculator to get that minimum value. So, notice if I were to press trace, then I could press left and right on the buttons here, and I could move it over to that minimum value, kind of move this I call it a little spider, but it's kind of like a little pointer or a tracer. I can move it over to the minimum value. The problem is it doesn't get exactly on the minimum. Notice these right here are not exact, negative 0.42 and 0.75, and I'm not even sure if that's right on the minimum because there seem to be two that are equally good. So that gives us a good guess as to what the minimum is, but doesn't give us exactly what the minimum is. For that, what you're going to do is we need to calculate the minimum. So notice the calc menu right above trace. To get there, we're going to press second, and then we're going to press trace. I noticed a lot of people thinking that second is kind of like a shift button on a computer. It's not. Make sure you press the second and then let go of the second and then press the trace button. And then you'll get to the calculate menu, and you'll get a menu that looks like this on the right here. Notice we have value, 0, minimum, and maximum, and intersect, and we will use all of those at some point. But notice we need to use the minimum because our parabola is concave up. If the parabola were concave down, like that purple graph right there, then we would use the maximum. So this is how you do maximum or minimum. And when you press enter on, you can go down to 3, or you can just press the number 3. When you do either of those, then you get a screen that looks like this on the left right here. Notice it's asking us a question. It's saying left bound. Well, that question left bound is the calculator's way of asking, can you show me the left side, mark somewhere that's to the left of this minimum? You could imagine if we have a curvy line that's going up and down, there are lots of minimums, so the calculator needs to know which minimum we're talking about. So what you're going to do is you're going to just move the cursor to the left of the minimum by pressing the left arrow button. And once you're sure it's left of the minimum, it doesn't have to be very far, it could be like right there, then you're just going to press enter. And notice, look, I'm looking at the right side of the screen right now. So once you pressed enter, a few things should happen. First of all, notice that it gives us a little arrow marking off the boundary. So it's saying, oh, that's on the left side. Notice also it's now asking for the right bound. That means go to the right of the maximum and hit enter. So we're going to use the right button, and we're going to go to the right of our minimum. And notice right here, you can look at the right side of the screen now. That is far enough. And when you press enter after that, it'll do the same thing. It'll change the question, and it'll give us a right bound. So notice that we have left bound and right bound, and they're on the left and right sides of our minimum. And it's now asking us for a guess. What's nice about this is you actually do not need to move it anywhere. You can just press you can move it down to the minimum if you want, but the calculators are smart enough that they can figure it out just by hitting enter right away. And you get this value right here. Notice it says minimum, so it's telling us this is the minimum value, and the x and the y. Now, I do have one problem here, and I want you to know this. You are smarter than your calculator. So, if it says negative 0.49999999994, that is not a good enough answer. You know the actual minimum is really negative 0.5. You notice what happened here? Sometimes the calculator cannot calculate exactly where the minimum is. It just gets really, really, really close and leaves it up to you to figure out where exactly the minimum is. This doesn't happen very often, but I'm glad I found one where it did happen because you are smarter than your calculator. Now notice that is the x value, okay? So it's saying the minimum is at x equals negative 0.5. The y value there is 0.75. That's not really that close to 1, so please do not round that to 1, or do not even round that to 0.8. You only round it if you're really, really close, like 0.499999994, like our x value here. All right, here's what I'd like for you to do, is I want you to practice finding a few minimums or maximums, and you can figure out which one you need to press. Try these right here. What I might recommend, instead of don't type them in like I have them, instead type them in one at a time at Y1, and you can try them one at a time and find the minimum value. All right. Thank you for watching, and come ready to try this out on your quiz.